Greetings from the Alexandrina Council. Let's meet the driving force behind the Alexandrina community. Chief Executive Officer, Andrew MacDonald. Mayor, Keith Parks. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Peter Oliver. West Ward, Councillor Bill Coomans. Councillor Lou Nicholson. Councillor Michael Scott. North Ward, Councillor Craig Maidment. Councillor Sue Miller. Councillor Christy Thornton. South Ward, Councillor Margaret Gardner. Councillor Millie Livingston. And finally, Councillor Peter Oliver.
So welcome everybody to our council meeting of the 17th of November 2025. We do have a new meeting procedure that we're using for the first time tonight, so it could be interesting, it could be exciting, and we'll just see how we go and see if we don't get it mixed up on the way through, but I know we'll manage to get there eventually. So I'd like to welcome you all. An audio recording of the meeting will be made for minute-taking purposes and will last the length of the open meeting, and the audio file will be available on the council website. And you will see also our friends from South Coast Television here do a video recording. If you could please put any phones or smart devices into silent so that they don't cause any interruptions. I'd like to especially welcome the members of the gallery for your time and your interest in coming here. Those who are not familiar with this venue, the toilets are in the foyer directly through in line where I'm looking there. Yeah, as I said, tonight's our first time using these procedures, so we shall see how we go. So I'd like to welcome our council members. We have no apologies. We have Councillor Thornton not here at this stage, but we'll record her presence when she gets here. There are no leaves of absence and nobody missing, absent. I'd like to also welcome our Chief Executive Officer, Andrew MacDonald, our General Manager Community, Stacey Bateson, General Manager Infrastructure, Alan Harvey, General Manager Corporate, Tash Hunt, General Manager or Manager Governance and Communications, Lachlan Miller, and our Minute Secretary, Tanya Cragen, and some of our other staff who are here as required. If you are able, could you please stand for the local government prayer? Almighty God, we humbly beseech Thee to grant Thy blessing upon the works of this council. Guide us in our deliberations for the advancement and the true welfare of the people of this district. The Alexandrina Council and its communities acknowledge the Nangkita, the Paramount and the Gardner people as the traditional custodians of the lands and waters of our council district. Thank you. Just remind members, if you have an interest in a matter before council for the purpose of Part 4, Division 1, Subdivision 4 of the Local Government Act of 1999, in a matter which would be before council at this meeting, you're asked to disclose the interest council to provide full and accurate details of the relevant interest at the beginning of the meeting, and you're also reminded you must deal with the conflict of interest in accordance with the relevant provisions of Subdivision 4 at the same time an item arises for consideration. We do have a declaration from Councillor Livingston relating to item 10.3. We'll handle that when we come to it. There are no others. So item 2 is confirmation of minutes. 2.1 is the Audit Council meeting minutes of the 20th of October 2025, and there's recommendation that they be received as true and correct. Move Councillor Livingston. Second to Councillor Maidment. Is there any discussion relating to those minutes? If not, I'll put that to you. All those in favour? It's carried unanimously. 2.2 is the South Australian Wooden Boat Festival Committee minutes of the 13th of October 2025. The recommendation that those minutes be received and noted. Is there a mover for that? Move Councillor Oliver. Second to Councillor Livingston. Any questions relating, or comments relating to those minutes? No? So I'll put that to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 2.3 is the Southern Communities Transport Scheme minutes of the 15th of October 2025, and there's a recommendation that they be received and noted. Moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Scott. Any discussion? If not, I'll put that to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 2.4 is the Chief Executive Officer Performance Management Panel minutes of the 20th of October 2025. There's a recommendation that those minutes be received and noted. Moved by Councillor Maidment, seconded by Councillor Oliver. Any questions or discussion relating to those minutes? If not, I'll put that to you. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. 2.5 is the Climate Emergency and Environment Advisory Committee minutes of the 3rd of November 2025, and there's a recommendation that those minutes be received and noted. Moved Councillor Nicholson, seconded Councillor Gardner. Any discussion relating to those minutes? If not, I'll put it to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 2.6 is the Agricultural Advisory Group minutes of the 4th of November 2025, and there's a recommendation that they be received and noted. So moved by Councillor Scott, seconded Councillor Miller. Any discussion or questions related to those? If not, I'll put that to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. Number 4 is adjourned, the 3 is adjourned debate. There is none. 4 are presentations and deputations. We have 2. The first one is from Mr. Trevor Harden regarding council matters. So welcome, Trevor.
Thank you. This will be very quick. I wish to make a brief statement to place on record in this place some facts about my public commentary on council matters over recent years. The facts are: I have not been responsible for over 10 years of constant harassment of any person. I have not been untruthful. I did not, in 2024, make a derogatory and distressing Facebook comment about the resignation of former CEO Nigel Morris, and I most certainly was not responsible for his resignation. Those are the documented and verified facts. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions, should there be any.
Anybody have any questions of Trevor? No? No. Thanks very much, Trevor. So 4.2 is a deputation from Mr. Tony Love regarding a proposal for a non-motorised accessible aquatic recreation zone on north of Hindmarsh Island. Tony, you ready to go? And Andrew said that you wanted an extra 5 minutes?
Yes, if you don't mind.
So everybody okay with that? Yep. Okay, thanks.
I hope it won't take an extra 5, it may only take 2 or 3. Thank you, Mayor and Councillors, for allowing me to speak to you. My name's Anthony Love. You can call me Tony. I have a place on 11 Captain Stewart Parade on Hindmarsh Island. I wish to speak to the Council today on a plan developed by myself and my wife Marina Goldsworthy to establish a non-motorised accessible aquatic recreation zone on the northern side of Hindmarsh Island in the area of Captain Stewart Parade, at the boat ramp there on the banks of the lower River Murray. I understand you all have a copy of the proposal with you tonight, and I've seen that. And with me in support today is Olive Hanson, Vice President of Chitterslow Goolwa. We all know how vital the Chitterslow International Network is to the identity of the Goolwa district. And just a quick reminder of Chitterslow Goolwa's core values that focus on the environment, infrastructure, urban quality, support for local producers and products, culture, arts and heritage, social inclusion, hospitality and tourism, education and sustainability. It's heartening that Chittersley-Goolwa see the exciting potential and the value in the proposal that is being presented to you tonight. I'd also like to thank Councillor Peter Oliver, who has put the notice of motion to Council for consideration tonight. Clearly, as a successful local businessman, he also can see the potential for the proposal to be activated. Now to the proposal. I'm here this evening to present a low-cost, high-impact opportunity for our region, one that would establish South Australia's only designated non-motorised aquatic recreation zone. This project supports tourism, strengthens community wellbeing and helps us prepare for the potential impacts of ocean and coastal conditions such as the algal blooms that have affected our beaches this year and possibly into the coming summer and beyond. The purpose of my presence here tonight is that we are seeking Council's endorsement to create South Australia's first non-motorised accessible aquatic recreation zone at the Northern Hindmarsh Island boat ramp, and that proposal includes an inclusive kayak launch and modest landscaping improvements designed to make the site safe, welcoming and accessible to everybody. So the key benefits of this proposal, first, is a truly unique opportunity for this area. This would be the only accessible kayak launch site on the Murray River in South Australia and the only designated non-motorised aquatic recreation zone in the entire state. We've seen similar infrastructure at Echuca and Mildura in Victoria, where it's become a proven tourism drawcard, attracting visitors year-round and boosting local businesses. There are other accessible ramps at reservoirs in South Australia, in Happy Valley and Maiponga, but not on the river. Secondly, the community benefits are significant. It provides a safe, family-friendly freshwater recreation area for swimming, paddling and rowing, without the noise or wake impacts of powered craft. The area is already favoured by Wilderness Escapes for their outdoor education program, which brings hundreds of school students to the region. They all leave as ambassadors for the river, for Hindmarsh Island and for Goolwa, and to leverage such an opportunity is priceless. Local rowers, young sailors, stand-up paddle boarders, kayakers, canoeists, they're all aware also of this space, but it has been increasingly unsafe for them in the past few years due to the rise in powered watercraft in the same area. It also offers a reliable alternative for locals and visitors if the ocean is too wild or water quality is unsuitable, as in the potential effects of the blooms. Third, it's a tourism and accessibility win for everyone. This initiative would position Alexandrina as a leader in both ecotourism and accessible recreation, which is a rapidly growing market now worth over $29 billion nationally, according to the Tourism Research Australia. It also builds on our reputation as a nature-based destination within a Ramsar-listed wetland of international significance, appealing to visitors seeking inclusive, sustainable outdoor experiences. This is a low-cost, high-return project. The investment required is minimal. Toilets are already there on site and they can be enhanced with accessibility upgrades. Jet skis can be redirected to the existing council jet ski park down near the barrages, where, may I point out, non-powered craft and swimmers are actually banned in that area, but we have nowhere else to go. Other powered craft can launch in a nearby boat ramp on Hindmarsh Island or at the many other boat ramps along the river. And the project is eligible for multiple state and federal grants, meaning we can leverage external funding for the delivery. We are requesting that the Council endorse in principle an establishment of the non-motorised accessible aquatic zone at the Northern Hindmarsh Island boat ramp. We would like to commence consultation with residents, schools, disability advocates and tourism stakeholders in the area. We would love to see the beginning of applications for external grants to support the works. And I know that we would need to engage the Department of Infrastructure and Transport to adjust speed zones and other water rules, etc. in the area. This could also present the opportunity to create in the long term a complete water user plan for the Goolwa and Hindmarsh Island region. And that has also been done in similar areas in both Western Australia and Queensland. In conclusion, councillors, this is a small investment with big outcomes, a project that delivers real benefits across the community, environment and tourism. By establishing this unique aquatic hub, we can leave a lasting legacy of safety, inclusivity and sustainability, while strengthening Alexandrina's standing as a leader in accessible nature-based recreation. It's a forward-looking initiative, one that supports our people, protects our environment and promotes our region for generations to come. Thank you, that's my deputation for this moment. I'd like, possibly, if I could ask Olive Hanson from Chittislow for a little moment of support as well.
Thank you. Chittislow Gulwa strongly encourage Alexandrina Council and its councillors to have a favourable look at this proposal. It's got huge benefits for the end users, not only for them, for the residents nearby, for the environment, for the community in general, in case we'll have more problems with the algal bloom. It sounds like a great alternative to redirect people in Goa and not redirect them somewhere else in the state. Hopefully you look at it favourably. Thank you.
Thanks, Olive. Tony, any questions, anybody? Councillor Scott.
If I may, I think it's a fantastic idea, and it gives another section of the aquatic people an opportunity. Having tried paddling out there myself and nearly being carried away by an oncoming boat, I can see the merit of it. My question is in relation to the area, and I apologise if I missed it. How big an area are you looking at it being? I presume there'll be a zone there, so it'll go out to the middle of the river or whatever. What's the measurement?
Look, I think that is that's a little bit down the track in terms of planning, but the way we would see it potentially is, you've got the little beach area that I think you see there's a picture somewhere on your proposal that you've got. We would imagine something like 200, 250 metres either side, maybe is a zone where non-powered craft can go. Out into the river, that's 750 metres wide at that point. You know, you would think maybe we could go halfway across. Most of the water-powered, the boats going up and down the river use the channel on the other side, so it doesn't impact directly in that area there. So there's a range of different options we could do that. I think also the potential is if VAC-swim, for instance, can go there, and you could put out buoys into an area that might be the size of double size of a swimming pool or whatever it might be. So, I mean, there are various options in terms of the space it would take up, but it's not designed to stop the passage of motorised watercraft across the river. It's only really there to protect a particular area for paddleboarders, canoeists and whatever. And it doesn't restrict people who are in kayaks or canoeists going beyond that. It just gives them a protected zone.
Excellent idea, thank you.
Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Worship. If I may, I'm just interested to know if you've considered doing a petition as a step as part of your own consultation to give us a little bit more insight into this.
Of local residents?
Well, the local community.
Yeah. Well, we have thought about that. I mean, this plan has been brewing in Marina and my heads for 5 years. In terms of, we live nearby, we see the potential of that area. We haven't got around to, we don't have the, physical capacity to, print out huge, petitions and things, but, that's certainly anything we could look at. Yeah.
Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Tony, for your presentation. And I just want to note how enthusiastic the local community is for this initiative. So thanks very much.
Oh, thank you for your support, Peter. That's really
Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you, Tony. I think this is really fabulous, and appreciate you coming in to explain a little bit further. The proposal that you've put to us is so detailed and gives such helpful information. I was curious as to how much time and passion has gone into delivering this for us to consider?
A lot. You know, like I said, we've been brewing on this for quite a few years, and we just see the potential. And when we see, you know, Wilderness Escapes, or before them, other outdoor people, the rowers come in, you know, sort of, it's just been a joy for us to see this part of the river being used in that way. And it just, you know, there's just a positive vibe for us to go, like, I think we can offer an idea that has a great positive future for the community. So it is a passion thing. I hope it becomes a practical thing as well.
Any further questions? No? Thanks very much, Tony.
Thank you very much, Council.
Item 5 is petitions. There are none. Item 6 is questions with notice. 6.1 is a question from Councillor Oliver regarding repairs to Sugars Beach and Mundoo Channel jetties. 6.2 is a question from Councillor Miller. Sorry.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. And just in regard to question with notice 6.1, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the CEO for personally visiting Sugars Beach last week to inspect the storm damage and the status of repairs. We now have an insurance claim and the local jetty builders are booked in, and it will hopefully reopen by Christmas. The CEO also inspected the other damage from the storms, including the damage to the seawall, the car park, the significant beach erosion opposite the mouth. And the overgrowth of the roadside and the need to get underway with the new toilets were also discussed. So thank you very much.
Sorry, just for clarification, we don't do discussion relating to questions with notice. The questions are just received and noted. So we have a 6.2 is a question from Councillor Miller regarding signage in High Street, Strathalbyn. And they are it. Those questions and the answers to them are in our agenda. Item 7 is questions without notice. Are there any questions without notice? Councillor Maidment.
Excuse me. Thank you. Aspen Lifestyle Living developing lifestyle living units off of Parker Avenue in Strathalbyn, and under the original plans of the development there was an exit to Hooper Road, which is at the rear of the property. Now residents believe that this exit is going to be developed for housing. So if that were the case, there would only be one way in and one way out for development which commands 70 to 80 houses. It's not an ideal situation if there were emergency services needed to, particularly in a case of a fire or flood, if there was only that one way in and one way out for 80 residents. I just asked the Manager for Strategic Development if he's aware of that, because there is some works happening presently.
Through the chair, we'll just have to take that on notice. I'm not aware of the answer off the top of my head, so we'll have to do some investigations for you.
Are there any other questions without notice? No. So we move on to item 8, which is notices of motion. 8.1 is a motion from Councillor Oliver regarding the establishment of the non-motorised accessible aquatic recreation zone, Northern Hamish Island boat ramp. Let's move. Can you wish to move it? Speak to it.
I do, and I would alternatively be happy to move the alternative motion prepared by admin. I do have a question of clarity though. The only differences I see between the two, really, in practical terms, is that I had suggested including consultation, and I think we heard from the deputation today that consultation is very important. So I wonder if that can be included.
Through the chair, I think as part of our normal process, as we follow the what we see as an unsolicited bid, our policy would guide those processes, but consultation clearly would be required as part of this proposal. Yep.
Do you wish to speak to it? No. No. So do we have a seconder? Councillor Gardner.
May I ask a question?
Question.
What financial implications for council would be involved in this process?
Through the chair, if I may, I guess at this point in time we don't exactly know what those costs might be, but it's certainly been suggested that it's likely to be modest. But until such time as it's further investigated and a report comes back to council, we're not going to have that information at this point.
Any further? Councillor Miller, sorry.
Thank you, Worship. I've got several questions. I just want to be clear on which motion's been moved, the one that was printed or the alternative one, and then I'll ask my question.
The alternative one on page 12.
So I've got, it's not clear to me, so we're about to endorse a delivery of our community, a strategic plan. What are we not doing if we are going to do this? I'm interested in the resourcing impact of what's going to happen, what's being pushed out. I don't quite understand that. And then I've got other questions, thank you.
Through the chair, this motion, part 3 in particular, is about approving progressing to stage 2 of that is a detailed assessment to better understand what the proposal's all about. So in accordance with our unsolicited bid policy, there is a requirement to progress through a variety of stages. This motion would, should it pass, would direct administration to proceed to stage 2, which is a further, more detailed assessment with a report coming back to council for consideration.
I'm just curious why it's coming as a notice on a motion on notice from a council member and not through administration through a report that's coming to us for a decision. So I'm just concerned about the precedent that this is going to set. So I'm just why that is coming this way.
Through the chair, Councillor Oliver has received this submission as well. Councillor Oliver viewed it as a proposal to be considered. Administration viewed it as an unsolicited bid in accordance with our policy. Councillor Oliver is aware of that, and this motion would bring those things together.
Any other question?
Well, may I debate now? Yeah, thank you. This proposal is interesting and it may have merit. I just think it should come through. If this had read that a report be prepared for consideration during the annual business plan consultation, I'd be more inclined to support it. So I'm not saying that it doesn't have merit. We've got an annual community plan that we've adopted. This isn't in our community plan. I don't believe it speaks to our the delivery plan of our A2040 that we're about to adopt, and I thought that we were being disciplined in how we were going forward. So I'm not speaking against the idea and the proposal. I just think the timing is unfortunate. I think it's, our economic development team are now going to be diverted to something that wasn't in the community plan, and I don't see the urgency to this. And I also would like to have seen a petition accompany this, because Councillor Oliver said there's quite strong community support for it. It's been kicking around for 5 years, as I understand it. So I think for me to give a little bit more urgency or priority to divert resources to something like this, I would have liked to see a petition, and that's why I asked my question earlier. So I think that if we're serious about how we're going to move forward and consider things, I think we need to acknowledge that that's the process that we follow. So I'm not speaking against the idea, but I am speaking against, and I won't be supporting, that this proceed and take resources from our economic development team when we have other priorities that I believe they should be focusing on, that we've all agreed to and adopted through the community. I'd love to see this come back through the annual business plan consultation process as we prepare next year's budget. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councillor Livingston?
Just a question, in terms of resourcing, how much time are we looking at for the next stage to be considered and a report being provided, roughly, high level?
Thank you, through the chair. Very good question. I'm not confident to answer that right now. It could be, I don't know. My team have already been out to speak with Mr. Love, but I think there's quite a bit more work to do. But as it has merit, yeah, should council decide, we'll definitely put that effort into coming back with stage 2 in a report, but I couldn't guarantee it. It would be hours because there's lots of parties to speak with, including state government. But yeah, I'm not confident to give you a figure, I'm sorry.
Thank you for that. I can understand where Councillor Miller is coming from and the process that we have undertaken this financial year and our limitations. So I'm not saying that the project doesn't have merit, but at this stage I would only be supporting the next stage of assessment. And when it does come back to us, I'd like to see what will we consider taking out of the budget to go to the following stage, because we are meant to be showing restraint. Thank you.
Any further? Councillor Nicholson, thanks. Sorry.
Thank you, Worship. I think this project is an incredible opportunity for this chamber and council. I think that whilst acknowledging the process and the current community plan that we are working on, now is a time to consider a project like this because of the algal bloom. We are going into a summer of uncertainty for our locals and our visitors. Alternative water-based activity is going to be a real topic for conversation around our whole state this summer. And I think it is the perfect time for us to also be progressing a conversation around an alternative place for people to use the water in our river and lakes. And I think that the economic, environmental and social outcomes that this project gives us an opportunity to look at is wonderful. Additionally, I think that it would benefit our reputation. We have to be flexible in this chamber. We need to look at these opportunities when they come to us. And I understand this initiative has been around for some time as well, and it has had a lot of heart and energy and passion and time poured into it. I'm really grateful for this being brought to us, and I think we have multiple ways to introduce things to this chamber and for council consideration. So I acknowledge some of those comments, but I think that this is really worthy of support. I think that it would be great, there's no time frame on it, so if the administration teams can do it as they're able to and progress it and bring back another report for this chamber to consider, that would be wonderful. And I really urge my colleagues in the chamber to give this support tonight.
Totally agree with every comment there from Councillor Nicholson. We're not asking the administration to drop everything and devote their entire focus on this particular issue. It's going to bring some economic development, economic benefit to the local area. I do note that the reservoirs in Adelaide on weekends draw, I'd say, hundreds of people, and there's the opportunity to do the same here. So I think this is a great initiative, and by the time we get a report, it'll be budget consideration time, and therefore we can determine how much this is going to cost and whether we proceed into the following year.
Any further? Councillor Scott.
Yes, I support the two previous speakers. We need to be a can-do council. I love people coming up with ideas. We are a water-based society down here. We're not up in the middle of the desert. We're like in the Todd where they're doing it on foot and pretending they've got boats. We've got real boats here. and we are very much water-based. And this is an extension of that philosophy. Yes, if it's going to cost a whole lot of money, we might have put the brakes on, but let's not just say, whoa, 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 straight away. Let's look at it. If the research is going to be very extensive and expensive, let's get a quick report back saying, are you aware this research is going to be very expensive? And we might have to put a hold on that, but let's not pinch it off before they've even started. I think it's a great idea, goes back to the basics of water sport and that sort of thing. So I'm saying let's support it and proceed with caution and see whether it's going to cost a lot of money or not. And if it is, well then we have to give it a second thought. But I'd say fantastic idea and let's welcome it.
Any further discussion? Councillor Miller, you've already spoken to it. You got a question?
My question is, how is this area being used now? So there's nothing preventing this, as I understand it, nothing preventing kayaks or anything that's in this from happening now? Is that correct?
It's currently used, there's a boat ramp there and public toilets there, and it's currently used as a launching for speedboats, for water skiing, and lots of jet skis. If people want to put a kayak in, they can. Good luck to them. In amongst all the jet skis and speedboats, yeah. Anything else for anybody else? Yep.
So the time frame then is going to be, it is going to take resources in the next 3 months, as I understand it. That's if we're trying to make a decision associated with the algal bloom, that it is. I'm just trying to get a feel for, there's no time frame there. So there's clearly an expectation now that if we're referencing the algal bloom, what is the time frame? Because clearly other things will have to be just parked to deliver this, is that correct?
Through the chair, again, as Stacey said, we don't know exactly how much time will be required, but this project won't be delivered before this summer. So what we are probably looking at is, as suggested by some council members, is doing enough work to potentially inform the 26-27 annual community plan should council wish to progress.
Any further discussion? Councillor Kermans?
I'm not going to make a comment. I think this project certainly does have merit. I deserve going to the next stage. I think if the information comes back in time, we'll consider it at the next budget.
Any further? So, Councillor Oliver, before you have your right of reply, I'll speak. So, I think this motion and what Tony presented to us in his deputation highlights a serious issue we've got on the river, not just here, but on the river in general. So you need to understand that this is about a portion of the river, and it's making it so that it's environmentally good, it's shallower water there, and it's a great use of the facility, and it's sensitive to the environment. Over the years, particularly since the millennium drought, we've seen an increase in the number of craft coming into Galway and staying here, and they're designed to be in the ocean. They're not designed for the river. And they take off mostly out of Coorong Quays and come down across under the bridge. If they're lucky, they slow down to the right speed under the bridge, then they take off again. The amount of damage those vessels are doing at the speed they're going out up and down at, and there's cruisers. We've now inherited a few wake boats. If you don't know what a wake boat is, it's designed to make as much wash as possible so you can jump over it with your water ski. And they're going up and down. So the risk to damage to the environment, bank degradation and infrastructure and personal injury of people on vessels that are moored in marinas along there is substantial. Now, we've had discussions with the department. We had John Wheeler, the head of DIT, down for a meeting at the wharf. We've met with the Chief of Marine Safety, and another person from Marine Safety. And they're aware of the problems that we're experiencing in this area and what we're looking at over a fairly short area of the river, including this particular part. And this is an addition to that, so it's a sensible thing to add into what we're doing. So as far as I've been looking at this as Tony for years, that and the other problems we've got down here with marine activity, to make it good and safe for everybody and for the environment. To get this to the point where the next stage should be very minimal. It's a study looking at where it is, what needs to be done, outlined it, potential for this, that and the other. Understand the public, the next thing that comes to this council should be a recommendation that we go to DIT to put this into place, not us. It's not our water. We've got no legislation over the water. So we'd have to go to DIT to get all those approvals in place. So they should do the consultation. In the discussions we had with them earlier about the speed controls on the river, they were going to at some stage do the consultation. The problem we've got is they've got no resources. There's one marine safety vessel between Warina and Cape Jaffa, and that includes the river up to Wellington. That's got 2 officers on board, so you never see it. It's just utilised all over the place. So it's a really serious problem. I think this is a great opportunity for us to bring this forward. We've done it with the jet ski park down the bottom, and that's really good and used a lot, but we've still got people who don't use it. We try and encourage them more. So I think it's a good initiative. We should be supporting it, and we should also putting this into our package of marine safety and protection of this environment when we go to the department, because it needs to be a holistic look at marine safety on this in this area. So Councillor Oliver doesn't want to have a right of reply. So you've got the motion. I'll put it to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 8.2 is Councillor Maidment, a motion regarding the installation of a memorial park bench in Rotary Park at Strathalbyn. It's moved by Councillor Maidment. Do you wish to speak to it?
Briefly, this is a no-brainer. Rotary Park was developed by the Rotary Club of Strathalbyn. They have put a lot of infrastructure into that particular area. The bench, there's no seating there other than sitting on a fallen log. We propose, or sorry, the Rotary Club proposes that it be alongside the park run course and the barbecues, which are the Rotary Club have developed there over a period of many, many years. So, Ken, you've read the responsible officer's comments. It's consistent with other common approvals of council. It should be a no-brainer in my opinion. Thank you.
And do we have a seconder, Councillor Miller? Any discussion? You don't need a right reply. So I'll put the motion to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 8.3 is a motion from Councillor Nicholson regarding the Nangkita Road intersection. It's moved by you. Do you wish to speak to it?
Thank you, Your Worship. This motion is the result of a conversation that I had with a resident of Mount Compass who approached me as a ward councillor with their significant concerns about this intersection and presented me with a petition that they put out to the community some time ago. It's actually a petition to the state government, but unfortunately it is probably not of a, it doesn't meet the standards that would probably be accepted. I'd like to let you know that there were at least 75 signatures on that petition, and the resident informed me that there were other pages still in the community that had not yet been collected and potentially lost. So the ability for this resident to present the formal petition is incredibly limited, but the story that it tells and told to me was significant. So I decided to bring this motion to really share the frustration of people in our communities and the risks that are going on every day at this intersection. Because the traffic going along Victor Harbour Road has increased and increased, residents trying to come out of Nangkita Road are delayed significantly. Because of the pressure, they're taking risks, they're cutting in front of cars. Some drivers are driving along the shoulder on the left-hand side to turn left. And that's not to mention trucks as well, who need to go slightly uphill and get in front of significant traffic to try and get out of this intersection. There are multiple reports recommending upgrades to this intersection, including traffic lights. And I understand that Council have already advocated for state government investment into this intersection. What I'm asking tonight is that we support another letter from this Council to the Minister to continue to raise this as an issue for our community and ask state government to invest money into a plan and a project to upgrade this intersection. Thank you.
So do we have a seconder? Councillor Scott, do you wish to speak to it?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I wholeheartedly support this, and I just want to link it back to the South Coast Growth Strategy that we were talking about last week. This is a classic example where everybody's talking about houses and increased population. It's areas like this, no mention, there's a silence about what's going to happen. That is from a trucking point of view, it is a difficult intersection for various reasons. One, it's a B-double route, and B-doubles are going to be more and more prolific, and if you picture the development that's going to be here, that's forecast, a lot of material is going to be brought down and we'll use that corner. It is an uphill takeoff for the trucks, and it is adjacent to a bend in the road that actually hides traffic that are coming at quite a reasonable speed. I think it's supposed to be 60, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they come around there very quickly. And if you try and get a B-double from the stand uphill and out and across that in the summertime between mid-December and mid-February or early February, it's a nightmare. And there are other areas like it, but that is just certainly needs attention. There was, I think Councillor Coomans had an innovative but slightly expensive alternative, but certainly innovative and worthy of at least a quick look. But certainly something needs to be done there in the interests of safety, not only of the trucks, but of the cars that would be involved.
Any further, Councillor Coomans? Yep.
Thanks, Mayor Parks. I guess this intersection's been on my to-do list for about 5 or 6 years now. And I've spoken to a number of people, including the petitioner. I'm not convinced, though, that it's necessarily or primarily a safety issue. It's more to do with driver frustrations and delays at that intersection, especially the heavy transports using Nangkita Road, which, by the way, is a council road, trying to enter the Victor Harbour Road, which is a DIT road. The traffic movements in that area would tell us that there's over 10,000 traffic movements a day on the Victor Harbour Road, over 10,000. A comparable other road in Alexandrina would be that section of road that runs through Middleton and finishes at Waterport Road. That has about the same number of traffic movements a day. All of the other roads in Alexandrina are less than that. So it is a very, very busy road. And as Councillor Scott said, it's an upward incline from Nangkita when you approach Victor Harbour Road. It's also the sight lines, and I think you mentioned that as well. The sight lines, because it's on a big bend, is an issue. There's another issue that there's only one lane. There should have been two. There should have been a left turn lane as well, because that adds to the frustration of the drivers who who are waiting to turn left from Nangkita, where all the rest of the traffic's going right. So it's a real problem. There are a number of options, and I have had a conversation with Councillor Scott on the best option, but the interim one would probably be to do with installing interim traffic lights of some sort. The other option are pretty high costs, but probably what should happen in the long run. One of the problems we've had in approaching DIT on this, and I think there's regular meetings every quarter or so, and quite often it is raised, is traffic statistics. They normally come back with how many people have died at that intersection. Unfortunately, none. You know, it's not that sort of issue. It's an issue of frustration of the drivers when they come up Nangkita Road, especially the trucks, wanting to turn right and having to wait. I've observed them having to wait 5 to 10 minutes before they can turn. And even then, there's blowing of horns because it takes them quite a while to get up the incline and turn right. So it's something that needs to be looked at. The local member is certainly aware of it, but nothing much has happened there. Admin have said the potential for black spot funding. This is an absolute candidate for that sort of funding, yet it seems like DIT are not in much support of that. So I guess what I'd like to see in the motion is something other than just safety. We are talking driver frustration and driver delays, and I wouldn't mind if the movement sector were to include that as a variation. And if we're going to write to a minister, it's a Minister of Infrastructure and Transport. We've just got those two words around the wrong way. If the movement sector are prepared to include something about driver frustration and the inherent delays because of it, then I'm quite happy to support it as is, or else I'll shadow a motion to add that to it. But something needs to be done. It needs to be done now. Thank you.
Mover and second are happy to include about driver frustration.
It was suggested and traffic delays be included in there. Sorry, the word safety should stay in. It's an element, but it's certainly not the most important one.
Mover, are you happy with that?
Thank you. Perhaps if it went note community concern regarding safety, driver frustration and traffic delays.
Okay, second. Yep, right. Leave the meeting to accept that. Yep, all in favour? Good. So any further discussion? Councillor Livingston.
Thank you, Mayor Parks. This motion's a no-brainer. Definitely going to be supporting this, and I note that although we have advocated and it seems that we're not getting anywhere, on things like this we just need to continue to advocate. We need to continue to emphasise to the state government exactly what their policy making is doing to our region, to our lives, and especially in relation to the lack of infrastructure. And this is how it is now, and although there's been no lives lost at this intersection, I would say what has to happen? Does someone have to lose their life for something to happen by the state government? And it's only going to get worse once the housing growth with the GARP is realised, and I think action needs to be taken by the state government.
Any further discussion? Your right of reply. Yep.
Thank you very much. I think I just wanted to add that, while this is just a letter from us, it is demonstrating to our community that we are still pushing for state government to come to the table and do something about this intersection, and that we are aware of this issue. Thank you.
So that ends the discussion, so I'll put the motion to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 8.4, it's a motion from Councillor Nicholson regarding roadside clean-up, and it's for the 2026 budget consideration. It's moved by Councillor Nicholson. Do you wish to speak to it? Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for considering this motion tonight. What I'm asking is that we include this as part of our discussions going into the next budget. It is a fairly modest investment, but I do understand it will have to be considered against all other priorities next year. The reason I brought it as a motion is because this is raised with me frequently by members of our community, and the main concern that I get in the West Ward that I represent is about the road outside of the dump, Gore Road there, and I think particularly after the fire there was so much litter along that road, and members of the community come to me and say, look, you know, it looks bad for local residents, and we're also, you know, trying to encourage visitors to our region to have a look at all of our towns, including come along the coast to Galway or go the other way. And this stretch of road, I think, for so many locals who go along, you sort of shake your head. And we do have some amazing volunteers who do some clean up along our roads, but this is it's a long stretch. Sometimes there is a fair distance between the bits of litter, but it's all sorts, and it's very visible. So I'd love to see something like Repay SA coming down to do that work for us. It's got the dual benefit of seeing people who owe our community a debt, doing that in a way that we can see. So they are doing their community service, and we are having our roads cleaned up. I recognise there are other roads within Alexandrina that have similar issues. So I'd love to see this considered in the conversations. I'd love our community to have the opportunity to consider adding, you know, a budget from their rates to cleaning up roads that our volunteers can't get to. Thank you.
We have a seconder, Councillor Livingston. Any discussion? Councillor Miller.
I just have a question. I just want to be really clear that we're not putting this in this year's budget. This is for consideration when we build the annual business plan for next year.
The next budget. Councillor Maidment.
Yeah, I have a question around traffic management and the costs, or what exactly are we required to have in place for if we were to engage Repay SA. We're just going to let them go out there without any protection in terms of signage, or do you just have these TMAs, these truck-mounted attenuators?
Through the Mayor, thank you for the question. The feedback that are provided in the motion does answer that question to a point that Repay SA advised us that's what they do on other freeways. So these are larger roads that they use attenuators on, and that is appropriate for the work that they do. It's a cheaper form of work zone traffic management for those purposes, because it can move with people, because it's a vehicle, rather than a fixed work zone that has to be shifted every, I don't know, half an hour or so as they move along the road. So it is the most economical, but they do require a high level of protection given the speed of vehicles in those environments.
Any further discussion? Councillor Coomans?
Yeah, well, I travel the Southern Expressway quite often, and quite often Repay SA are there, and all they have is a vehicle with obstruction lights and a gang of work with bags picking up rubbish. There's no extra protection, as I can see. other than wearing high-vis vests. I think this is a good initiative, and I'd certainly like us to pursue it with Repay SA at $360 a day. Seems pretty reasonable, and they are fully committed at the moment, but they may have a Monday available, and I'd certainly like to lock in something like that for them to look at our main roads and do some cleanup around the dump. I think that's a good place. Certainly Victor Harbour Road is an issue. The roads Goulburn North, South, Goulburn to Kyneton Rocks, to do that on a regular basis, I think would be great. It's all very well to say volunteers might be able to do it, but I think all of our volunteers are pretty stretched at the moment. So I'd like to see this going. I'm not sure whether motion 2 means all that much where it is. It just seems to be out of place in terms of the recommendation that an annual budget of 7,000 to 15,000 could allow. It's not making any positive direction. It's just making a statement. I'm not sure what the value of that one is. And number 1, I said, does not have a budget allocated. I'm not sure of the value of that, but certainly the last one, that a roadside clean-up initiative be considered as part of Council's annual community plan and budget process in 2026. I think that's a good idea.
Any further discussion? No? So you're right to reply, but I'll just say, I will point out that tidy towns tidy up the road going out of Goulburn towards Victor Harbour to a certain distance, not as far as the dump, but they go out of Goulburn on Alexandrina Road at least as far as the railway S-bends, and they do it regularly. And Chitterslow have a regular clean-up on Randall Road, Hamish Island. They all cost us nothing. So, Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I appreciate all the commentary and discussion there. I would just like to clarify that I didn't know exactly what the administration comments might be, so I did want to give some context because it was clarifying for me to understand that Council does not have any budget when I did ask whether any of Council's teams could help with that litter after the fire in front of the dump. There was no budget to, we don't have teams that actually do that, and I didn't actually know that, so I thought that would be helpful context, and I did forget the note that an annual budget of 7,500 to 15,000 could allow 5 to 10 days, and I just thought that could be helpful context as well for the Chamber to consider. But yeah, thank you. I would really appreciate this being a part of the discussion for next year's budget. Thank you.
So that ends the discussion. So I'll put the motion to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. We move to item 9, administration reports. 9.1 is the South Australian Centenary Grand Prix track, Port Elliot, Kyneton and Victor Harbour, and there is a recommendation with 3 dot points. Councillor Scott, you wish to move it?
Yes, thank you, and if I may speak as well. This is an exciting initiative, and it's a mixture of steeped in heritage, but it's also it's got great tourism potential. It ticks a whole lot of boxes. The fact that we had nearly 100 years ago, just on 90 years ago, we had the Grand Prix at Port Elliot into Victor Harbour, edge of Victor Harbour, and those roads are still there. So you can actually drive round with a bit of alteration where they've put a roundabout and that sort of thing over near Arambira, but it's essentially similar to what it was track. There is great enthusiasm. The motoring world is a only lightly tapped resource, I believe. You only have to look at the Bay of Birdwood. I was at Bordertown on the weekend, and they've got a historic car club down there. There were rows and rows of restored vehicles of all ages down there, and this is happening across the state. There will be the Sporting Car Club, which we've been in contact with, are already planning to do something, and into the future I can see people visiting the area, driving around the track. I envisage the track will be marked with their own particular sign, so there's no doubt about where people need to drive. We've got that excellent mural there at Hayborough that Mr. Lovell instigated, and there's potentially great enthusiasm for this. I think we'll all be surprised where this will go in the future. So I'm urging you all just to support the recommendations. There's practically no money involved in it, so it's not as if it's going to be a budget basher, but it's got great potential, and a lot of the work's going to be done by the Sporting Car Club anyway. They are, this is an excellent report, and thank you to Sarah and Manager of Economic Development, Economic Development Advisor, and the Manager of Economic Development, Lisa O'Donoghue, and to the General Manager of Community as well, for really getting behind this, and an excellent report, and I commend it to you, and I look forward, with it being passed, that we can progress the whole thing, and October next year you'll see the 90th anniversary and a whole lot of activity happening. Thank you.
Do we have a second? Councillor Coomans?
I think this is a great project. I had the honour of sitting in the back of a 1926 Vauxhall, which is an open tour, when they did part of the circuit a little while ago, and it was quite exciting driving around that part of that Grand Prix track. And I think this is something that's something that we should support. I think it's great. I had a bit of a look at the street, and you know, cars were running in the original one. There were MGs and Oldsmobile, Riders, Fords, Austins, Bugattis, Morris, Woolsleys, and of course the Vauxhall. And I think something like this will be a great tourist attraction. The crowd at the original one, I forget what the numbers were, but they were absolutely huge. And I'd like to see this as a great event for Alexandrina and also Victor Harbour, because the track goes through both council areas.
Any further discussion? Councillor Miller.
I just have a question. I was trying to find this document on the website. There's a link in the agenda that goes out to it. But if you're not looking in the agenda, how do you find it on our website? I think there's just some interest in this.
Through the chair, my apologies, I thought we made that a public link.
Through you, Your Worship, it is a public link, but you click on it through the agenda. But when you're on the website, unless you've clicked on it through the agenda, I'm not sure where to find it.
Thank you. We'll take that on notice and see where we can place it on the website.
Thank you. Yep. I also think this is a really interesting idea, and I think consultation will be really important. But this is, I thank Councillor Scott for bringing this forward initially, and I think we're just noting at the moment, and the working group's working away, and we'll receive more information as it progresses. So it's interesting. Thank you.
Any further discussion? So, Councillor Scott, do you need right of reply? No. So I'll put the motion to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. Go to 9.2 is the Mount Compass Recreational Vehicle Park Development and Management Considerations as a recommendation with 2 dot points. Councillor Coomans, do you wish to move it?
I'm just seeing, I did send an email today asking for a variation to number 2. So I'm moving that receive and note as per number 1, but number 2 reads, unless the CEO's made it look better than I did, not pursue the development of the Mount Compass RV park at this time, and be further considered on a reduced scale and potential land sale as part of the Mount Compass town plan commencing in 2026. If that's the words that I've got. Yep. Okay, yeah. I guess when I saw an amount of $360,000 for a fairly large tract of land, like what I would consider a caravan park, is not what I had in mind. No, I don't think anyone had in mind that's where we wanted to go. What we were looking for is a casual area immediately behind the existing council toilets that would accommodate maybe 5, maybe up to 10 recreational vehicles. That's totally self-contained vehicles, not cars and caravans, but RV vans, motorhomes, I think they might be called, which is probably what's happening now in the council car park. There's motorhomes that are parking there for an extended time, and really we need to get them out of that council car park and into an area of their own. And to me, the most practical location for that is immediately behind the toilets. We would need to include a dump point, because these self-contained homes have got grey and black water, and the last thing we want is for that to go down our toilets. So it would need to have a dump point. And then I looked at the way and in terms of support, when we went out for expressions of interest, there wasn't much. But in fact, the owner of the caravan park, which is just outside of Mount Compass, I invited him to come and have a look, and he was quite accepting that we'd have a small casual area for motorhomes and what have you. If it's anything bigger than that, we've got a damn good caravan park in Compass that people could be using instead. To assist in funding, what was envisaged was the remainder of the land. There's a fair bit of land that fronts onto Sam Court, which is the road immediately behind the Victor Harbour Road. That it's a dirt road. It's not a very good quality road. That could be sold. Sorry, not the road. The land could be sold, and the proceeds of that could well be used to do some urgent work on Sam Court. The final idea for Sam Court is to bring it back and connect to the Victor Harbour Road, creating a circular road in Compass. It also means that land, if it was for sale, would probably be valued much higher, because it provides ready access to the whole of the town and also creates a semi-bypass if that's required. So I think this needs to have a relook, and something that's to be looked at when the town plan, which commences in next year, and that's going to take a while to happen. But if part of that is, what if we put in a reduced scale RV park, and sell some potential land there, which is council owned. And I know some of the businesses have mentioned that if that land was for sale, they'd be very interested in it. So, you know, to me, it's a win-win for everyone. So I'd ask you to support this, please.
Yeah, Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to support it. However, I would like to request a further amendment. I would like to put a seconding. I'd like to request a further amendment, if I could, please. Okay, a variation, sorry. I would like to put a full stop after the word scale and delete the rest of the words. I believe this concept has merit and should stand up in its own right. And I've got to say, just a bit of background, I'm pretty disappointed with the outcome of this work. This could have been kept very simple and literally been simply allowing RVs to park overnight in a designated zone, which could just be a car park space. For example, in McLaren Vale, the supermarket allows 5 car parks or so to be used overnight exactly for that purpose. It doesn't cost anyone anything, and we get all the benefits from it. So I'm sorry, I do feel very strongly this has been made too hard, too complex and too expensive. So I hope that we can reflect on it and bring it back in a much simpler form. Thank you.
So, Councillor Coomans, are you happy with that change?
Number 2.
Yeah. Okay, we have to do that. Is there any further discussion? Councillor Scott.
Councillor Oliver has pretty well taken the words out of my mouth. The whole aim of this, as far as I'm concerned, is to get people to stay overnight, so that they are then creating business the next day or the night before, whatever. These modern things are self-contained. They don't need all this elaborate stuff. There's a dump point down the road, about 15 k's down the road, which they'd be aware of, because they're aware of where everything is. I just thought, couldn't we have a sort of a designation that self-contained units may stay overnight in this spot, and they just pull in onto the green, stay, go to the tavern, do some shopping or whatever. But the moment you keep them and keep them overnight, you're generating business. And that's what I think the key of this is, not spending, I forget now how much the total of the thing estimation was, but I think we could cut a corner or two and get people in there, and not in tents and that sort of thing, but with self-contained units. As they are self-contained, they've got their own water, their own everything. So why don't we just get them in there later on? If you want to have the rest, we can. When we've got a bit of money, we can do it. But let's get them in there and get generating some business for Mount Compass. That's what I think, which I think Councillor Oliver was alluding to.
Further discussion? Do you wish to have your right of reply?
I'm not sure whether I can add much to that, but I think an important point was that the businesses will benefit from something like this, because people stop overnight. We've got a Drake supermarket, so they can buy some provisions. There's a medical centre, there's a post office, there's a chemist, and there's lots of coffee shops and eateries. So it's the sort of thing that if you're in a caravan, a motorhome, and you stop somewhere, that's the sort of things you want to do, and they're all within walking distance.
Apparently you had your hand up, Councillor Miller. Did you wish to speak or ask a question or something? No? Yes or no? No. Ends the discussion. I'll put the motion to you. All those in favour? Against? That is carried. (9.3) is the short-term dry area applications for Christmas events in 2025. There's a recommendation with 4 dot points. Oh yes, sorry, I missed this a couple of times. So, Tash, is there any updates? No, thank you. So, are there any questions for clarity? No. So, do we have a move, Councillor Nicholson? Second, Councillor Gardner. Is there any discussion? Straightforward. We do whatever you do. No. So, I put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 9.4 is subsidiary annual reports, and there's a recommendation with 2 dot points. Andrew, is there any points of clarification? Any questions for clarification? We'll get this right in a sec. Councillor Oliver here.
Yes, please. Thank you, Mayor. I'm just wondering, is it possible, just to make sure it's all clear, that we add the value of the financial results into the motion? I do note that some of the results are adverse and material. For example, the Frara $1.7 million loss. My second question of clarity is, in regard to Frara, are they not supposed to make an annual profit of $700,000 per annum in order to repay the asbestos loan? So does that mean that the underlying loss on this occasion is $2.4 million? Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Through the Mayor, no. The repayment of loan is cash flow, and you can be cash flow positive whilst generating a loss. and in this instance the loss is driven by a provision on the asbestos. It's a non-cash item.
So that clarifies that. Is there any other questions for clarification? If not, is there a mover? Councillor Gardner. Seconder. Councillor Nicholson. Any discussion? Councillor Scott.
I just want to acknowledge two things, but mainly the Fleurieu Regional Waste Authority. They've been placed into a fairly difficult position the last couple of years. But I want to acknowledge the work that they have done. They've had a horror of a year this year, just reading that report. And outside of that year, that financial year, but within this calendar year, they've had another fire. And yet they have been able to continue and have got contingency plans to be able to still deliver the service that they set out to deliver in the first place. And I think while there's been quite a lot of criticism levelled at them, some of it I believe to be unfairly, but criticism nevertheless. But I think we should acknowledge the work that that outfit does and has done, and the challenges that they've done after the Kangaroo Island fires. I know they're a few years ago, but they did an incredible job, and they've obviously still doing an amazing job with the various challenges they've had this year. And I just think we should acknowledge that, frustrated as we may be over part of what's happened, but I think we still there's a team there that's working, I believe, pretty well. And the other thing I just want to acknowledge is the Adelaide Hills Regional Waste Management Authority and the great work that they're doing and their vision, which is in their report. But I just want to acknowledge that as well.
So any further discussion? Councillor Maidment.
Yes, I've picked up on the Fleurieu Aquatic Centres, our council contributions in excess of 500,000. Obviously Victor Harbour similarly, and they made a loss last year of over 300,000. Was that picked up, that 300,000, will that be supported by council contributions to bring that into balance, or is it just a carry over to next year?
Through the Mayor, the Fleurieu Aquatic Centre loss of 300,000 is roughly the equivalent to the depreciation. The Fleurieu Aquatic Centre for last year and the current year has been looking at its funding requirements on a cash flow basis, and because it has what would be from the authority days had a sinking fund which is currently being used to fund the renewal program. The depreciation hasn't been a requirement to be sort of cash flow funded. As we work forward, the intention would be to go back and look at the renewal funding requirements and look at the cash flow needs on a holistic basis. So at the present moment, no, that does not need to be topped back up.
Any further discussion? Not, I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 9.5 is the adoption of the Alexandrina Council Annual Report 2024-25, and there is a recommendation with 4 dot points there. Oh, sorry, yes, Tash, any clarification? No, I'll get it right in a second, Lachlan, sorry. Any questions for clarification on this one? Sir Oliver.
Thank you, Mayor. I know that the amount of financial losses is very pleasing compared to the budget and previous. I just wonder, I don't see it in one place anywhere. Could you please just confirm the amount of financial losses for each of the last 3 years and the total? Thank you.
So that's any other questions? Clarification, not for debate? No. So is there a mover for that? Move Councillor Gardner. Yep.
I just want to say what a lovely report it is. It is comprehensive. Absolutely everything you need to know is in that report, and congratulations to the staff.
We have a seconder, Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Worship. I reiterate what Councillor Gardner's just said, and I think the amount of work to pull this together is very much appreciated. The depth and breadth of what a council does is laid out here for everyone to see. So when I get the question, what do I get for my rates? I love pointing people to the annual report. And just to Councillor Oliver's question, you may find that in the uniform presentation of finances. I think we do the previous years. You can then go back to last year's and look at the uniform presentation of finances, and then go back to the year before. And so it is all there. It's just how you find it. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? If not, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 9.6 is the adoption of the A2040 Strategic Delivery Plan 2025 to 35. There's a Group A recommendation and a Group B, so we'll do them separately. We'll do Group A first. Move Councillor Livingston. Second, Councillor Koeman, sorry. Any discussion? Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Worship. Just very briefly, I'd like to think that only 33 unique responses, but on similar themes, reflects a level of understanding in the community as to what we are, where we're at, and the direction we are heading and what we're trying to achieve. And I thank the community very much for the considered way they responded. And I also appreciate the response to the community's feedback that was set out on page 323 of the agenda, and I think that's all very appropriate. Thank you.
There's further discussion. Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to reiterate my comments from the last meeting, where I acknowledge that this is a great body of work, certainly filling a gap that we have. However, I'd like to also note my desire for there to have been a greater focus on cost reduction, and I'd also like to note the risk in the plan. The big risk is that the plan is not underpinned by any workforce planning, and we all know that our forecasting does not provide for any increases. So I'm very concerned about our ability to actually deliver the plan. I've appreciated the community feedback, and thank you to everyone that's responded. And the community have responded that these issues and other ideas for financial sustainability are also important. So while commentary has been added to address these concerns, no changes to the delivery plan have been made. I believe that specific cost reduction activities and targets should be set, and I think that the community's concerns are significant and should be further addressed and incorporated into the plan. So accordingly, I request that further work be done in regard to cost reduction and the workforce planning. So I'll be voting no in its current form, but thank you.
So any further discussion? If not, I'll put the recommendation, that's recommendation Group A, to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. So we go to recommendation Group B. Is there a mover for that, Councillor Livingston? Yes, speaker.
Thank you, Mayor Parks. I'm happy to move this recommendation, and I just wanted to thank administration and their collaboration with our committees, in particular the SEEK. That was great, and a lot of time went into their feedback, and I also just wanted to thank administration for the formal recognition of the Ramsar wetlands within the plan. Thank you.
Do we have a second, Councillor Miller?
If I may speak, Your Worship, I reiterate what Councillor Livingston has said, and I'm just going to quote one paragraph. The A2040 Strategic Delivery Plan 2025-2035 is the final component in the A2040 suite of documents and has been comprehensively reviewed in line with the legislative requirements and Council's continuous improvement objectives. That's directly from the report. My view on this document is the negative themes were, in my view, predictable and most disappointingly show an unwillingness to acknowledge the significant strategic work done since this chamber was elected and the incredible focus of the administration over the past 3 years, in particular the last 12 months. And I can only comment on 3 years because that's the only frame of reference I have in terms of extensive access to information and the administration. I draw your attention to page 322 of the agenda. I am very comfortable with this document and I thank administration, colleagues and community for their input in developing it. I don't mind the continual references to negative themes. It's an opportunity to clarify and reinforce to the community what we've done, how we've done it, and the significant work ahead of us. It is flexible enough to respond to opportunities that may arise, and we've seen that tonight in the agenda and the decisions that we've made. I've no doubt we can expect more of the same rhetoric from a small alliance of community members who, regardless of what we do, will continue to ignore that this document fills a gap and brings years of work and advocacy together. Now we must be disciplined and follow it. We cannot underestimate that this is a foundational milestone document for Alexandrina Council. It will be a key reference point for me, and I thank everyone who's been involved in it. The author sums it up well, top of page 324. The delivery plan, along with the rest of the strategic management plan suite of documents, form key controls to assist in the management of Council's financial sustainability, governance and reputation risks. And I hope this is supported, and I thank everyone involved.
Any further discussion on it? So just before Councillor Livingston gives her right reply, I just think it's important to note this is a plan. It's not something that, it's a plan that we've adopted based on what's projected in our long-term financial plan. It's not a commitment to spend everything that's in this plan. It's there, it's what we're planning to do if we stick to the long-term financial plan that we've adopted into the future and don't make changes. So you can make savings. Every year, the long-term financial plan comes to you and you're going to start looking at it again straight after Christmas. Exciting, but you're going to be into it, and then you can make the savings and not spend. That's the important part. Don't spend. And you will be able to reduce costs, and I know for a fact that the administration are working all the time at looking at all areas that costs can be reduced, because the more we can reduce costs in operation, the more we're able to maybe do that comes up that's important. So it's there. I think it's very important that I think sometimes the community look at it and they think we're going to spend all that money over all those years, but we may not, because you may decide each year when you do the plan not to do it. So, Lisa, do you wish to? No. So I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Try and get this one right, Lachlan. So 9.7 is the appointment of a Deputy Mayor from December the 1st, 2025. Andrew, is there anything to add to this?
Nothing.
No? Is there any questions of clarity of the report? It's really straightforward. We can do A, B and C en bloc, but we can't do, of course, D until we've done those. So we'll look to move a mover for the three, group A, B and C. Mover, Councillor Livingston. Seconder, Councillor Nicholson. Sorry, Councillor Oliver. Any discussion? So I'll put the recommendations to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. So now we are effectively have come out of meeting procedure. We've adjourned meeting procedure for the process of the voting. So I guess the first thing we have to ask, you members, sorry, Sorry, Andrew, you take over.
So members, as the meeting's been adjourned, we're essentially in a informal briefing or a work session, so I'll facilitate that if that's okay. So the purpose of this is to provide members with an opportunity to nominate, to self-nominate or to nominate someone else to the position of Deputy Mayor. There is one position obviously available, so if there are more than one nominations, then we're going to have to go and proceed with a voting process, which Lachlan will outline carefully should we need to go to a vote. So members, I'm looking for self-nomination or nomination. Councillor Gardner.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Scott.
You happy to accept a nomination, Councillor Scott? Yep. Do we have any further nominations? Councillor.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate, I was going to nominate Councillor Scott in recognition of his lifetime of volunteering. Thank you, and I think you'd be a great Deputy Mayor. I'd also like to recognise and nominate Councillor Coomans in recognition of his 30 plus years of service to councils. And he started out doing it the first. I think there's a lot more that you could sort of give and benefit from it. So I think it'll be a fine race between the two of you. If anyone else would like to nominate as well, I'd encourage that too.
So members, once again, if we have more than one candidate, we will need to go to a voting process. Councillor Coomans, did you want to accept your nomination? Yes, okay, thank you. Are there any other nominations? Thank you. There being two candidates, we will need to go through the voting process. I'll ask Lachlan Miller to now talk members through that process. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. Members, this is going to be the first time we've used the indicative voting process, so I'm going to go quite slowly and quite deliberatively, and I don't apologise for that. Please listen to the instructions as I go through and don't get ahead of me. Thank you. Okay. The voting process, as per our Code of Practice of Meeting Procedures, is that it will be a secret ballot using the first past the post counting system. Each council member, including the presiding member, shall have one vote. What we're going to do now is hand out some ballot papers to each council member, which Tanya will do. Thank you. Please do not mark the ballot paper that will be handed out to you until you're told to do so. Thank you.
And members, just checking everybody has a pen available.
Thank you, Tanya. Can you please bring the box over when you're ready? Thank you. So from the nomination process, I understand that there are two candidates. One is Councillor Scott, whose name I will put in the box. The other is Councillor Coomans, whose name I will put in the box. When I draw these names out of the box, can you please write on your ballot paper, in the order that I draw them out, do not cast your vote. Just write their name in the ballot paper. Okay, the first name to write on the ballot paper is... Sorry? Yeah, so thank you, Mayor. Just that top line is for the appointment of Deputy Mayor. So you'll be writing the first name, which I've got out, which is Councillor Scott. If you can write that in the second line on the ballot paper. And then, I'm not sure what drawing this out because we're fairly sure who it's going to be. But, and can you write Councillor Coomans on the third line of your ballot paper. What we'll now do is invite the candidates to speak to their candidacy, and they have up to 2 minutes to do so, and we'll do that in the order that they've been drawn out of the box and they're on the ballot paper. So Councillor Scott, that would be you first. Are you prepared to speak for 2 minutes?
Thank you
Your time starts now.
Thank you for the opportunity and for the nomination. It was suggested that I might nominate last year, but I had a busy year in front of me, and I deferred and said that I would be a better place to do it this year if that came up. I'm in my third term, the end of my third term in council, and feel that I've had enough experience now to carry out the position. I've also been a deputy in a variety of organisations to various presidents. I've had a fair bit of experience in that sort of role, and feel comfortable accepting the nomination. And the experience that I've had and the sort of we've got being satisfactory. That went off, did it? Sorry. Thank you. That's all I need to say.
Oh, thank you, Councillor Scott. Councillor Coomans, are you ready to speak? Your time starts now.
Thank you. Thank you. I was two minds of whether I would or wouldn't, because I have had a chance to do it before, but I've had something like 60 years in community service, 19 years now in local government, 8 years with Marion, 4 years with Onkaparinga where I was deputy mayor, and 7 years now with Alexandrina, and I was deputy mayor before. So in terms of the procedures, I guess I'm fairly well across those. I had a fair bit of input into the meeting procedures over time, and it's a bit of a passion of mine to get things right, to do things in accordance with. In my other life, I had 7 years as president and chair of Meals on Wheels South Australia. I was vice president of the Australian Meals on Wheels, and they are a board, so it's meeting procedures are very important with that. Also 5 years as the branch manager in Happy Valley, and working life was with the federal government for about 40 odd years, as finished up as state manager of South Australia with one particular organisation. And I guess I enjoy being part of meetings, I enjoy chairing, and I guess I'd like to do it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Coons. Members, you've heard from both the candidates. Can you please indicate your preference, as there is only one position, either a number 1 or a tick next to your preferred candidate is all you need to put on that ballot paper. When you've done so, please fold your ballot paper in half, and Tanya will come around and collect it in the box. Okay, members, thank you. Tanya and I will now just go outside the room to count the votes. Hopefully it won't be too long, and then I'll come back and I'll announce who the preferred candidate is. Thank you.
Members, just a quick one. While they're counting the votes, we are in an adjourned in terms of the meeting status. So if you want to run to the bathroom or something like that, now's probably the time.
To advise you, the result of the indicative voting process was the preferred candidate was Councillor Scott.
Okay, so we now will resume meeting procedure, and we are at recommendation D, which is straightforward. We just know the answer to that. Is there a mover for that? Councillor Livingston. Seconded, Councillor Coomans. Is there any discussion? Councillor Scott. Sorry, you should, yeah. You should, yeah. Sorry. So it's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Councillor Livingston.
Thank you, Mayor Parks. I just wanted to say that I'm delighted to move this motion, and in my eyes, Councillor Scott has well and truly deserved this.
Any further discussion? Not, I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. So again, getting back. You never know where he's gone. He went that way. Here he comes. God, how far away? He went in the cleaner's cupboard. So that's all done. So Councillor Scott, congratulations on your appointment. And I'd like to thank Councillor Olive for the last 12 months and for your support when we needed it. And I hope you've enjoyed it. So thank you very much. Councillor Scott, you don't need to worry about cleaning anything in the place. You don't need to look at the janitor's cupboard. It's fine. It's not part of the job. So 9.8 is the appointment of a proxy to the Southern Communities Transport Scheme Transport Advisory Committee. Now, do we have to do these? No, hang on. First I'll ask Tash, any updates to this? No. Are there any questions for clarity in relation to this? And do we need to do them? We need to find if there's a proxy first, do we? Right. So, yep, I just try with Lachlan to find out that make it as possible. So the first thing to find out is that is there a member who is interested in being in the position of proxy to that committee? Councillor Scott, you're interested in that?
I'm nominating. Am I allowed to nominate? Or do you want self?
Members, just because this one is does not have a material conflict of interest associated, what the Mayor was trying to do is just see if there was more than one candidate, in which case we will go through the voting process, but if there was only one candidate, we could essentially dispense with recommendation group B and C and just drop the name straight in there, just to make things a little bit quicker. So, yeah, so coming back to the Mayor's question, he just wants to understanding, is there more than one candidate?
So we do we have a person nominating for proxy for that committee? Councillor Scott. Councillor Scott, you with us, please. Are you nominating somebody or?
Well, I was a bit confused because I thought you were back to self-nominating, so I was waiting for the person, but I'm happy to nominate Councillor Miller.
And you're happy to do it? So is there anybody else? So if you, that will say, so now we can just put your name in on Group D. And we'll vote on...
There's definitely no other.
There's definitely no others, no others. No, there's no others. Yes.
Well, Councillor Scott did put his name forward.
No, he put Councillor Miller's name forward.
Yeah.
Did he?
I'll just clarify that.
Right. Were you going to put your name forward before, or just Councillor Miller's?
No, I'm sorry, I was just nominating Councillor Miller because I thought it was a nomination type, not a self.
That's right. It's simple. So we're looking at Group A and Group B and Group D. So do we have a mover for that? Move Councillor Livingston. Seconded Councillor Maidment. Any discussion? Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Worship. I just would like to make some comments, if I may, as to why this really interests me. I think it's important that there is representation from Alexandrina Council in the event that Councillor Gardner is unable to attend a meeting. Communities north of the Finnis are now covered by this committee, which is significant. It's a significant portion of the area that I represent. And Alexandrina is now a significant contributor financially to this scheme. It would be an honour to support Councillor Gardner and administration and represent our Alexandrina community on this committee in the event that Councillor Gardner is unable to attend. I also just want to acknowledge and thank the members of each council's administration in bringing this new model together and the work they continue to do. It's an incredibly important and valued service. It's an example of, you could say, cost shifting by other tiers of government to local government, but in this case, I think local government is best placed to deliver this service and program because we know our communities, and the funding must match or increase to allow it to continue. And I do hope that candidates in the state election will continue to include such topics in their advocacy and commitments. The state government introduced changes, as we know, to this CPN by significantly altering the geographical boundaries for the service regions, and it resulted in the new service provider being the City of Victor Harbor to provide these CTSA services for Alexandrina, Victor and Kangaroo Island from the 1st of September this year. This picked up 118 clients from the what was previously serviced by Hills Community Transport, and I really think the transition planning has been exceptional and smooth, and I think that's a credit to the administrations of the three councils involved, and I'm really delighted to be a proxy on this committee that's so valuable to our community. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? If not, I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Okay, so that's carried unanimously. 9.9 is the Chief Executive Officer Annual Leave of Absence. And Andrew, anything to change or add to the updates on this? Nothing? You don't want to go longer? No.
Members, no particular updates, but it's probably an opportunity for me to say I've been here 11 months now, and it'll be 12 months come December. I did share with my team that this is my 12th year now as a local government CEO, and in all of that time I've never taken any more than 2 consecutive weeks. So, subject to Council's decision tonight, it is an opportunity for me to really recharge, and I'm able to do that because of the competence of my executive team, and I also think the positive pathway that this Council is currently on, not only with our strategic planning, but the Chamber itself and the way the Chamber is collaborating. So I feel very confident and comfortable to request the additional leave to allow me to recharge. So thank you for your considerations. Please.
Any questions for clarification? If not, is there a mover? Move Councillor Livingston. Second Councillor Miller. Any discussion? Councillor Miller?
I just want to say I hope you enjoy your break, CEO, and thank you for the last 11 months, and look forward to the next 4 years.
Any further discussion? Hopefully it's more than 4 more. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Hopefully it's a lot more than 4 more. 4 more years. Yes. So I put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 9.10 is the Chief Executive Officer's report. Andrew, were there any changes to your report? No. Any questions for clarity? If not, there's a recommendation that we receive and note that report for October 2025. Move Councillor Oliver. Seconded Councillor Gardner. Any questions of Andrew regarding his report? If not, I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 9.11 is the Council Resolution Register. Is there anything to change on that, Andrew? No. Are there any questions for clarity on that? If not, there's a recommendation there that we receive and note that register. Move Councillor Scott. And a second, Councillor Maidment. Are there any questions or discussion relating to that report? Councillor Miller.
Just very quickly, I'm just interested in how we're going with the Goolwa Oval Management Committee and if we're getting closer to seeing what might be a management agreement with them.
Thank you. Through the Mayor. So you would notice in the resolution update that I'm now able to say that we are working with the Goolwa Port Elliot Football Club as the head lease option. Myself and the Manager of Property and Procurement had a really productive meeting with them. I think it was last Friday before. So there are a few points to negotiate, but we're bringing the right team players internally to discuss what those compromises might be. And then we're really looking forward to bringing that draft lease forward. Can't say exactly when yet, but they are very productive discussions now, I'm happy to say.
Any other questions or discussion? No? So I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. Item 10 is committee reports. 10.1 is a report from the South Australian Wood Boat Festival Committee regarding the resignation of a committee member, and there's a recommendation with 5 dot points. You move, Councillor Livingston.
Yes, thank you, and I'd like to speak to it.
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor Parks. I just want to formally acknowledge the contribution that Ruth had to the committee and the last 2 festivals in particular. The time, effort and expertise she provided us was invaluable and, in my eyes, irreplaceable. She most certainly played a large role in the festival receiving the Silver Award at the latest State Tourism Awards. And whilst I'm on that, I want to formally congratulate the team, the Boat Festival Committee, in particular, a thanks to the community members who volunteer a significant amount of time in organising and delivering the festival, with the collaboration, of course, with Stacey and her team, and Matt Miles and his team. I also want to acknowledge all of our volunteers, in particular the time that they spent in the days leading up to the festival and during, and our sponsors, as well as the other award recipients at the latest Tourism Awards, Spirit of the Coorong for winning gold for the 3rd consecutive year in the tour and transport operators category and entering the Hall of Fame, Anita Robin, the food builder, for winning silver, and other award recipients across the Fleurieu, the Big Duck, Fleurieu Food and Wine, and Old Coach Road Estate. Thank you.
So do we have a second, Councillor Oliver?
As a committee member, I'd just like to mirror Millie's comments and congratulate the committee and everyone involved. It was a great effort. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? No, so it's good. It was a great great festival, great outcome, and they deserve to get second prize. We got first, but that's right. So I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. 10.2 is a report from the CEO Performance Management Panel. The terms of reference review. Tash, are there any changes to that report? Are there any questions for clarification? If not, there's a recommendation there with 2 dot points. Moved Councillor Maidment. Seconded Councillor Gardner. Is there any discussion? Councillor Cummins?
Sorry, I missed the question earlier on. In the terms of reference, in clause 4, it says that the membership of the panel has removed the independent member, although it's mentioned in the definition. So where does it state where the independent member is actually elected or appointed?
Through the Mayor, the legislation requires an independent advisor to council. The way the previous terms of reference were written were very unclear of how that position actually operated. That position has always operated as an advisor to the panel in the review process, not as a voting member of the committee. So the terms of reference have just been cleaned up to be very clear that they're not a voting member, but under legislation we still have to utilise an independent advisor.
Is there any further discussion, questions? Not, I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 10.3 is a report from the Climate Emergency and Environment Advisory Committee. Chairing arrangements. We've got a advised by Councillor Livingston that she has a conflict of interest in Part A, B and C.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Parkes. I'm declaring a material conflict of interest due to the potential of me receiving a financial benefit. Thank you, and I'm leaving the chamber.
So, Tash, do you any updates or changes to this report? No. All good? Yep. Any questions for clarity? Councillor Miller.
Your Worship, I just want to clarify, if the chairperson is a council member, are they going to be paid or are they not? Or are we determining that in this or not?
Thank you, through the Mayor. If the SEAC, as it's currently structured, is not a prescribed committee for the purposes of the Remuneration Tribunal's determination. If it was a prescribed committee, the chairperson would receive 1.25 times the council member allowance. However, because it is not a prescribed committee, the determination does provide for a payment in the form of a per meeting sitting fee to an annual limit of 1,129. That is not discretionary for council. If council resolves for it to be a council member and they appoint them, the allowance must be paid. So in terms of, if you make a decision tonight to appoint a council member to be the chairperson, regardless of who that person is, they will receive an allowance.
Through you, Your Worship, just to clarify, so an allowance or a sitting fee per meeting?
Well, it's a sitting, yeah, I suppose it's a sitting fee to a total value of 1,129.
Right, so we've got recommendation group A, B, C and D. So we're going to do A, B and C in Councillor Livingston's absence. Is there a mover for group A?
Yes, I'm happy to move group A, just group A.
That's what it is. I'm saying, yes. We're going to do group A, B, then C. So I said, is there a mover for group A? So you're moving that? Yep. Is there a seconder? Councillor Nicholson?
Thank you, Your Worship. May I briefly speak?
Yep.
I'd just like to thank the Chamber for giving this committee an opportunity to be a part of this process. It's deeply appreciated, and I just want to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? If not, I'll put recommendation Group A to you. All those in favour? Against? That is carried. Pardon? I don't. Tell me what's going on. You've got a question regarding B?
No, I wanted to speak in closing the debate as Your Worship, and that's I hadn't voted.
Well, you can. Oh, I'm happy for you to speak to it. Doesn't for me.
I just wanted to say I don't support this being a Section 41 committee, but I respect the committee's wishes. And if they have support Councillor Livingston as their chair, I'm very happy to support that too, and for it to be remunerated. My questions were only around clarification, and whilst I still hold the view that this should not be a Section 41, I'm willing to support the wishes of the majority of this chamber. Thank you.
So it closes Group A that we voted on it. So we go to Group B. Sorry. So Group B. So is there a mover for that? Councillor Nicholson. Seconder, Councillor Miller. You wish.
I just wanted to clarify something, Your Worship. In that previous one, I was closing the debate, and it reflects that the motion wasn't unanimous. But if I had closed the debate and had the chance to speak, I would have voted for it. So I'm just now confused about what I was just speaking to then.
I don't believe it would have been unanimous because there was another person, there was at least one person other than you who voted against it. So we're at B and we're looking for a seconder. Councillor Gardner. Is it any discussion or questions? If not, I'll cancel all of them.
Yeah, I just think it's a missed opportunity that we are not continuing to pursue an independent chairperson, and I think that's one of the crux of these things. So the reason I'm voting no to these series of recommendations is that I believe it should remain independent. Thank you.
Any further? No, so I'll put the recommendation of Group B to you. All those in favour? Against? That is carried. So we go to recommendation Group C. Is there a mover for that? Move, Councillor Nicholson.
Matt.
Yep.
Councillor Millie Livingston will be an excellent chairperson for this committee, and of course she has incredible skills and experience to bring as chair. She has excellent relationships with all members of the committee and has the ability and capacity to work very closely and effectively with our administration, which is very important in this committee doing its best work and making recommendations that are incredibly helpful for this council and our community. Thank you.
So do we have a second, Councillor Coomans? Is there any discussion? No. So I'll put the recommendation Group C to you. All those in favour? Against? That is carried. We can now get Councillor Livingston back if we could, please. So we're at recommendation Group D, which has got two parts. So one of the part is regarding a proxy member until the end of the current council term. So is there anybody prepared to be the proxy member? You don't have to have one, but you know, if you want, what do you tell me? Speak to me, please.
I'm responding to your request for people to put their name forward as a proxy member of the Climate Emergency Committee. That's what I'm doing.
I don't know who it is. You're keeping us in secret.
No, it was me.
Yourself. Well, that's what we need to know, Councillor Scott. That's the secret we need to know the answer to. Yeah. So, is there anybody? Are there any other nominations, Councillor Miller?
I just actually have a question, Your Worship. I wonder if we could separate these two, because they are dealing with different actual elements. One's about appointing a proxy member. The other one is about the creating a panel.
We can separate them. It just seems to be pointless. But we'll do item 1 first. So is there a mover for part 1? Councillor Miller.
I would actually like to move something different to what is there, Your Worship. I just want to clarify, has the expressions of interest for this membership closed and now it's assessing them, or are we going to an expression of interest process? That's what I don't quite understand. I just need a memory refresh.
Thank you for the question. Thank you. Through you, Your Worship. The expression of interest process has closed and it's been held in abeyance for quite a while until Council resolved what the SEEK/CX final structure would be. Now that we know it's a Section 41 and we know what the role of the committee is, we can proceed with confidence if that's what Council wants to do in relation to the finalising the expression of interest process and a panel coming together and ultimately a recommendation coming to Council if that's the way things are to happen.
I withdraw my motion to move. I don't want to move this. I don't think there should be.
Okay, that's all right. Is there a mover for this? Councillor Gardner. Second, Councillor Coomans. Is it in discussion? Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Worship. I'll be voting against this, not because I don't agree with this, who's on the panel. I just disagree with the size of the membership of this group. I think it could function perfectly well with the membership that it has, and it just gets, the size of it is an issue for me, which it always has been, and that's consistent, so that's why I'm voting against it, not about the people on the panel. It's that I don't think we need to increase the membership or fill any vacancies.
So any further discussion? No. So I'll put the recommendation Group D, Part 1. All those in favour? Against? That is carried. We now go to Part 2. Now, Councillor Scott, you wish to nominate yourself as a proxy?
Affirmative. Yes.
Are there any other nominations? That's all right. We'll do that in a sec. Are there any other people putting their hand up? No. So that means Councillor Scott is the only one, so we don't need to have a ballot for it. So recommendation 2, Part 2 is there before you. Is there a mover for it first? Move, Councillor Coomans. Second, Councillor Livingston. Any discussion? No. Good on you, Michael. Councillor Scott, sorry. I'll put the recommendation, Deputy Mayor. Goodness me, getting ahead of us, aren't we? I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. 10.4 is a report from the Audit and Risk Committee, Independent Chairperson's Meeting Summary. Tash, is there anything to add to this report? Are there any questions for clarity? If not, there's a recommendation with 3 dot points. Move, Councillor Oliver. Do you wish to speak to it? No. Is there a second, Councillor Miller? Is there any discussion or questions? No, so I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 10.5 is the report from the Audit and Risk Committee, the Audit Completion Report for 2024-25. Andrew, is there anything to add? No, change that? No. Are there any questions for clarity on that report? If not, there's a recommendation with 2 dot points. Moved, Councillor Oliver. Any seconder? Councillor Gardner. Any discussion? No. So Miller.
I just want to say congratulations to administration on the audit completion. It's a good report.
Is there any further discussion? Not, I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 10.6 is a report from the Audit and Risk Committee, the first quarter budget review for 2025-26. Andrew, anything to update on that one? No? Are there any questions for clarity on this report? If not, we've got a recommendation with 2 dot points. Is there a mover for that? Move Councillor Oliver. Second, Councillor Gardner. Is there any discussion relating to that report? Not, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. .7 is a report from the Audit and Risk Committee, annual financial results and draft financial statements for 2024-25. Again, Andrew, nothing changed on that one. Are there any questions for clarity on this report? If not, there's a recommendation there with 3 dot points. Move Councillor Oliver. Seconder, Councillor Maidment. Is there any discussion or questions relating to this report? If not, I will put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. So 11 is council member reports. 11.1 is the presiding members report. So it's my report for October 2025. I've got nothing. Andrew, have you got anything? There's nothing to change in there. So there's a recommendation that we receive and note that report. Move Councillor Livingston. Second, Councillor Oliver. Any questions or comments, anything to do with that report? If not, I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. .2 is council member activity reports. We have a report from Councillor Gardner for October 2025. Nothing clear on that, no. So we need a mover that we receive and note that. Councillor Maidment. A seconder, Councillor Miller. Are there any questions of Councillor Gardner regarding her report? If not, I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 11.3 is council member activity report and verbal updates. So these are things you've done in your role as a councillor that you've not put a report in for that you'd like to let us know about. No. Scott.
It's not actually what I've done, but it's been brought to my attention that a young 15-year-old resident of Port Elliot has just won the one part of the Premier's Anzac Award. There were about 1,000 entries, and there are 16 finalists, or they're shortlisted, interviewed, and then the final number is 16. And this time next year, or about October next year, as the prize, he will be going with the other 15 on an escorted tour to, I think, one of the either Gallipoli or one of the significant battle areas of the First War. It's a pretty outstanding effort. It's Thomas Sullivan is the boy's name. His mother is on our Heritage Advisory Committee. But it involved researching an ex-serviceman and going right through from beginning to end, tracing their history and their service. And as I say, then if they're shortlisted, you then go and do an interview, and I know only a little bit about it, but I just thought it was worth reporting that I thought it was a pretty magnificent effort for a 15-year-old from Port Elliot to do that and achieve that outcome. He picked a person that was originally a Port Elliot person that finished up going to Rainbow in Victoria, where he enlisted, and he's recorded in the War Memorial there. But he was originally a Port Elliot person, the soldier that he researched. Anyway, that's just a little bit of information I wanted to pass on, because I thought it was a magnificent effort.
Any other? Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd just like to mention the Remembrance Day service that I attended in Malang, and placing a wreath there on behalf of Council was a real privilege. It was great to see the Malang community come together, and I just wanted to pass on to Council the praise for the maintenance of the gardens there. Thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, there's a recommendation that those reports be received. Is there a movement for that? Move Councillor Livingston. Second, Councillor Maidment. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. Item 12 is confidential items.
South Coast Television, your community, your voice.